Hey, today I'm going to fabricate a new rod holder so that I can go from this basket that just tips over if they all go to one side to a not so amazing, but it'll work rod holder. Okay, so first thing I'm going to want to do is use my tape measure that I found because I can't find my Milwaukee one. We're going to measure out this tubing to the correct length that I want, and then measure it out to put it onto our platform. Okay, now that I have all of my tubing cut out, if you were doing TIG for this, which you can, you might want to make sure that they're all completely flat. But since I'm doing stick for this, it doesn't really matter to me. So I'm going to try and line these up however I want them. I think I'm going to have go at an angle like that. And let's get to welding. I decided to go with this kind of configuration. And I'll make 1/2 of the 6 for aluminum or stainless rods, or maybe these 2 aluminum, stainless steel. And I'm not too sure yet to figure it out when we get there, but now I'm going to go ahead and mark where they are once I get them to their final resting place, and take my Sharpie, mark it, and then weld it. Okay, I have the machine set up at 61 amps, and go ahead and get my gloves on. This might be a little bit harder for me to do since I'm doing some fixed shape helmet, and I'm going to do some 70-18 for this one, and maybe see if another rod works better. Once I find out which rod works better, I'll just start using that for the rest of them. This is 1/8 inch, 70-18. Line this up where I want it. Turn the amperage up a little bit. Go to 70. 70-18, sometimes it builds up a little layer on there, so you might want to get some of that off before you weld again. There we go. Back on there. So that one straight back up. Work off that flux. Got our first one on there. Let's change to a different rod to see how it looks. Before anything was done, it's kind of a crude weld. Flux doesn't really want to come off that much. But I'll get that cleaned up. And this is what it's going to be like going over to here, there, all the way up. Okay, we're doing the same 70 amps. This time, let's try one of these 3/32 6011s. numbered mine so that I know which ones they are. So this one has a number 2. And that goes up there. Get that tacked on. Alright. That's a lot of amperage for that. I'm going to turn that one down. Probably to 60. And 55. Still a lot. Let's go down to 40. Yeah, that's a lot better. It seems like these 3/32 ones just burn right through it. I'm going to try and go up to a 1/8" 61. That would work for me. There we go. With the amperage. I'm going to go to about 55 on this one. This is pretty low. Bump it up to 70. It's a lot better. Okay, so with those 1/8" 611s, it was a lot better. 7018 was still a little bit smoother. That's just from messing up everything, but I'm gonna do a time lapse and just use the 611s, see how that goes. Alright, so we finished making the rod holder. So as you saw, I went from this. So now you just take your rods that you want to put in each one. So these are my thinner carbon steel ones. This way I could separate them. And that's not going to fall over if they're all on one side. Fit quite a few in there. Oh, it's bent. Alright. Have my thicker ones over here. 2 aluminum ones. I'll put the aluminum ones over there. So it'll hold all of mine. And if you do make one of these, especially the smaller one, if you have any pretty long ones, I suggest cutting them in half, because sometimes, I mean, personally, I don't like to have a huge electrode to use, especially when you're doing precision TIG welding. So you just want to have like a smaller one. But if you do buy your rods and they come in that container, I'd suggest keeping them in that container if they're longer. But when you use them up a little bit and they get pretty short, I'd suggest making one of these, because then you don't waste rods, because they are pretty expensive. And okay, this is kind of crude how some of the welds get all the spatter and everything everywhere. I'd suggest using flux core or even MIG if you wanted to, or if you want to do a small TIG project, you could do TIG, but you would have to clean off the metal. But one of the small projects I did for TIG, it's not fully complete yet, but it's this little hand rest, so when you are doing TIG, you can rest your hand on it. Still kind of wobbly, but all I did was take an 1/8 inch piece of metal. I think it is 2x6, so 2 inches wide, 6 inches long. And I took 2 more, and before I TIG welded them, I did take a grinder and grinded off all the mill scale so I could TIG weld on it. I didn't do it for the back here, but if I had more time, I would. And so with these, I just put them in a vise and I hit them with a hammer so they bend over. So then you can have this effect where it just kind of curves over. And I did that for both of them to make 2 little legs. And then the top is just a pretty shiny piece of metal that I grinded down with a polisher wheel. And so after I put it on there, I TIG welded these sides, but the welds weren't the best, so I decided to grind them down and make them smooth. And I do plan on grinding this down and then going over it again, and then maybe grinding it down, but I'm not